wake up with a smile, and then in a while come to lunch with the ladies. Lunch with the ladies. Lunch with the ladies. Lunch with the ladies.
In this episode, we talk to Rosemarie D'Alessandro of Joan's Joy Foundation. After losing her daughter at the hands of a killer, she turned tragedy into triumph by getting state and national legislation passed to keep these killers of children imprisoned for life. Hear the story of this incredible woman and what keeps her motivated in this one-on-one special. So, let's get talking.
Welcome to The Libby Show. Today is a very special episode of The Libby Show. I'm interviewing Rosemarie D'Alessandro, an unbelievably courageous woman. She is a mother that suffered, which is what is undeniably the worst tragedy a mother can suffer. She turned that tragedy into, I wouldn't even say triumph. She turned it into justice for people who may suffer the same thing that she did. She changed the world. It's an honor to meet her today. Today, we're speaking to Rosemarie D'Alessandro. I met Rosemarie through a film festival. I was a juror and I watched her film, and then I got to meet her at the film festival. And when I watched the film, I knew I had to meet and talk to this woman. She's going to tell you her story, but I will just say that I grew up only a few towns away. I was also a Girl Scout. And when I watched this documentary, there's a film about what happened with Rosemarie. I just thought, there for the grace of God, go I. And I want you to hear the story of Rosemarie. Rosemarie, I'd like you to start by telling me what kind of daughter Joan was. What kind of child was she?
She was the kind of child that, I see, I've had 5 children and I was a teacher. And I've never met a child like her. She was unique in her joy. She was like perfect joy. And we hear of happy-go-lucky, but it was more than that. She just had contentment and happiness in her that just conveyed to the world. It doesn't mean that she wouldn't pound her foot down when she was, angry, but then she would be smiling right after that. She was spunky. She would stand up for herself. She would stand up for others. She was compassionate. Like, I would be sick in bed because I had myasthenia gravis. And at that time, we were just almost there to find out what I had, because we were looking for it to see what I had past 7 years. And, I never saw such a spirit in my life. And the way I see her now is that she's, her spirit can never be dead. It can never be squashed. It could never be destroyed. And she is amazing, amazing.
And that spirit lives on with you. I want you to tell us the tragedy that happened to your family.
Okay. Well, what happened to Joan, she went to deliver the 2 boxes of cookies, Girl Scout cookies, to my neighbor across the street, 3 houses down. And she never came back. And he assaulted her sexually, and he took her life brutally. But he didn't know that he wasn't going to take her life completely. He took it physically, but not any other way. Any other way. There are just too many signs, too many happenings, too many stories. And I have to tell you, at that time, it became a high-profile case because children were delivering Girl Scout cookies to a whole neighborhood. My children, two children, had 4 blocks to go to. I was being more vigilant, and they were going together also to deliver. And just happened when they went there, he wasn't home. She saw the car. She was playing on the grass, and she said, "I'm going. You know, the car came in. I'll deliver the cookies. Goodbye, Mommy. Goodbye, Joan." And in 5 minutes, she was being brutally murdered. Yeah. And then signs happened that were giving me hope. And I wasn't surprised because, like I said, Joan was different. She had a spirit that, and now others are learning about her spirit through the white butterfly.
Yeah. And this was a time when, as I said, I was a Brownie, I was a Girl Scout, I had a paper route. I would just go out and play, and my dad would like shout my name at the end of the day. It's time to come in for dinner. This is how we all lived in our little section of New Jersey. And I'm sure in many other places throughout the country, back then. I almost hate asking you to tell me this story, because I feel like I'm making you relive it, and I don't want you to feel that way. But what I want to get now is what you've made about that, how you've changed the world because of that. They found the murderer. They found him, they convicted him. But I want to get into now what you did with that. You enacted important groundbreaking legislation in 2 states. You had a grassroots movement. You got a law signed by Governor Christie Whitman of New Jersey in 1977, a federal version by President Clinton in 1998, a similar version of the same law in New York State in 2004, an extended law with even more protections by Governor Christie of New Jersey in 2017, and now you're working on getting that version or something similar passed in New York State. Tell me how you did that.
How did I do it? Well, you see, in my Christian faith, Holy Thursday and Easter are very significant days. And a lot of us know about Easter, renewal, rebirth. Holy Thursday was the day of the Last Supper. That's the day, like the Eucharist was given to us. And Eucharist meant that like Jesus would be around all the time through the Eucharist. So they both were days of beautiful life. And she died on Holy Thursday around 3 p.m. And on Good Friday, it was interesting, Jesus died at 3 p.m. So all these thoughts are coming into my head, not right away, but maybe it started 2 weeks later. And I said, this is quite a coincidence. And then I realized this was a sign, and there was a message there. And it became a message that I believed in so much. And it became a message that something very wonderful was going to come out of something as horrible as you can get it. Okay. I mean, like one of the most horrible things any human being can go through, and this is a child.
Yes.
Only a little child, And I mean, and then I wasn't going to let him control me anymore. If I just had anger and kept the anger, and that's all I lived with, or if I went into a shell with it because I couldn't get over the grief, I remember Joan, sometimes I get tears, but that doesn't mean I'm in a grief. It means like, almost like living, remembering, thinking, feeling. But I didn't want him to control me anymore. And then also, I had my life still. Whole life was taken away at 7 years old. if she would have lived, oh my gosh, she could have been, because she was a leader. I was told she was a leader in her dance class. She was a social butterfly. She showed compassion to the child that was, because Joan was, very popular, but she didn't think of it that way. She just liked people. And there'd be a child that was just left out. She'd bring the child in. I would be like very weak. And she would make a drawing. Nobody told her to make it. And it had about like so many hearts on it. It was so cute. And then that's when she was about 6 years old. So I'm just telling you that that message was going to, and I felt good. It was going to be good. And we were going to have something special and hope and changes. But I didn't know, and I didn't really know about the changes until I saw 20 years later. That's when I saw the sign. And that's when the movement started. We had to fight to keep our killer in prison, or else he was going to get out. So that's really, that was the sign. And then the sign,
it's really unbelievable. There's a documentary called Daughter of Mine, and it shows you how he kept getting eligible for parole, which is mind-blowing to me. And what you did is you've changed the justice system. Tell me, like, did you start petitioning? How did you get it going? And tell me what the laws
petitions, campaign, green ribbon campaign, because green is her favorite color. And then the green ribbon got to mean remember Joan today, so tomorrow's children will be safe. Because now we had to take care of tomorrow's children, so it wouldn't happen like what happened to Joan. So we had to make changes in laws. So then another mother going through the same thing wouldn't have to go through what I went through. I mean, I testified 3 times, and I wasn't even healthy. Sometimes I go there. One time I stayed on the sofa. I was so exhausted after it. And so, I have to tell you what really gave me my courage and my strength to go for changes, so that we needed changes in our laws. If there were changes already, we wouldn't have to go through it. I know the laws were not going to help us, but somebody had to do it. We had to start. So it was Joan that started it, and I was there with her, being her voice.
Now, the first law, I'm not sure if I have this right. The first law was no parole is for offenders like this. And what type of offenders? That they would not be eligible for parole. Is that correct?
Okay, the first one we had, which took 3 years, we had to bring Joan alive again with the fight, with the laws, because 20 years ago, she had gone through the tragedy. And it was about no parole ever. That means no testifying, no appeals. The perpetrator that sexually assaults and murders a child. The first one was under 14, because under 14 in New Jersey means children. And that person would die in prison. I mean, the law doesn't say die in prison, but will never get paroled. Just to say it in a down to earth way. And that was the first law. And in 2017, then we got the law that says under 18. So then you have all minors.
Wow.
And at that time, I was concerned about the human trafficking issue. And you're hearing so much about it. And this was New Jersey. And we have the New York law for under 14. And now I've been working with sponsors about, like, say, 4.5 years. We just got the expansion of Joan's law in the Codes Committee, and that's New York State. And New York State is New York City, right? So
Right,
a lot of minors that really need, that are just treated terribly. So I think that the laws could mean prevention also, because there's a way these perpetrators have like a little circle, and they'll hear about it and they'll say, you better watch out. You're going to be in prison all the time. And that's going in their head, and they're not going to go all the way. Okay, that's prevention.
that is,
Because prevention is really the most important.
yes.
You don't want another child to go through
Yes.
it. So it's saving, she's saving, and the work that we do, Joan's Joy, the work we do, is really saving a lot of children that we don't even know.
Yes,
And then,
and for people watching, and this we did not speak about, but you could see it in the film, or you could look on her website. It was torture every time this murderer came up for parole and you had to try to keep him in prison. It just astounds me that you had to go through that. And now you've changed that for everyone that goes through this. It's
like, when you talk about it and you think about it, because, I'm involved in a lot of different things. And I think it's so important to be, this kind of work. I mean, I'm talking about my work is now, but it's so important. It's so important. We have to care, we have to care about the bigger picture. And that's my philosophy. It started with Joan, it started with me, so with John, Michael, my family. But you know what? It started that way. But really, my purpose in my work is to encompass all people. So I continue with that same philosophy, that same thought, and that same heart. So right now, we're going for, getting this in New York State, right? So I will continue. But guess what? We also have it introduced on the federal level.
wow.
So what we're doing there is to get it for all minors, because right now we have under 14. And so I'm working with sponsors there and, congressmen, in Washington.
Now, you also have a GoFundMe page going on now, and contributions to that help you with your programs. You have a whole foundation set up, the Joan's Joy Memorial Foundation, set up to help you with what you're doing on the political level, and also provide outreach programs. So can you tell me, people can go to the GoFundMe page, which is active right now, or you can go to the website and help donate. Tell me what the foundation does.
Okay, the foundation promotes like what we we're just talking now, but where our monies go is to help children that are neglected, abused. Like I was just talking about the human trafficking, but what about the kids that are poor? What about the kids that don't really have a family? These are the kids we help, and we've put thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in it since we started our foundation in '98. Okay, and we did some before that, but before that it wasn't a we had a fund. So, but now, for instance, the Covenant House youth that are human trafficking victims are going to be getting a chance to go to concert this summer.
Oh,
At the Prudential Place, imagine, and it's going to be rap, and there were two choices, and they picked the rap, and that'll be about like at least 30 young people, and then YCS in Hackensack, which we've been helping for more than 10 years. Those are youngsters, like say school-age children, and going up to like 14 or so. They will be, this year I don't think we'll do a great adventure, because we're going to do the concert. We won't have enough monies. But if we had enough monies, we could send them to Great Adventure again. So this year, I was thinking maybe like ice cream and also like miniature golf. So in December, the YCS kids and the Davis House kids, and they're parts of this whole big organization, YCS, that's been around for more than 100 years. But they will be going to Rockefeller Center once we get enough funds, okay? So what we do, we have a Child Safety Fest. This year, it'll be on September 28th. And from what we make from that will be used for these children to go to Rockefeller Center. And then we might get a few more dollars when we ask the people, we ask like the supporters and new supporters, like the end of November, around Thanksgiving time. So then we really will have enough money, because everything is expensive. Every ticket is like, we're talking like close to $100.
So
And
you're really, viewers can visit the website jonesjoy.org to find out how to donate. And Rosemarie, you've not only changed the world, but with Joan's spirit, you're giving people joy in their ordinary lives. Kids that have suffered, you're bringing joy to them. So jonesjoy.org is a perfect name for that.
well, Joan and I were a little bit alike. I mean, she was better, but we're both social,
Yeah.
and you could tell she was social justice. And that's what I talk about in my book that I wrote. And that book, it will say a lot of everything. It'll say more specifically as I parallel my life during the 34 years that there are letters in there that were given to me, written by the killer to a pen pal.
And this book is called The Message of Light and Letters of Darkness. And where can we find this?
Well, the book, you could get the book from us, and you'll get it for less. Okay, if you get it you get it on Amazon. So if you get the book from us, you'll get probably $20, $30 less, and then 10 of those $30 will go towards shipment. And then guess what? I'm working on the audio book. That's gonna be fun. It was so great, so great.
That sounds wonderful. So I'd like to end this on a positive note. As I said, I think Joan is the wind beneath your wings, and what you're doing now is you're the wind beneath so many other people's wings. And you talked about it before, but just tell me, give me some more inspiration for anyone that has been through something that you've suffered through, and how you would like Joan remembered.
Well, other people, others going through it or something like it, and going through this grief, going through parole process. One of the ways to get more into my insights and my feelings and the way I do things is you could get an ebook, is read the book, okay? And the ebook is like $8, $8 or $9. But with me, I really believe that you see, everyone, we have so much life around us. I'm very interested in gardens. I'm very interested outdoors, very interested in interior decorating. There's so much life that each of us has to give. And if you could just remember what you have to give, and it will make you feel very fulfilled. And then you could do it like in honor of your loved one by offering like hard times for them. Say, I like, say if it's an older person you're very close to, and just, offer, say, this is so hard for me, but I want to show you how I care about you and how I love you. And anything I'm going through now that's hard is like, because I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you because I love you. And then my suffering won't be as hard. Another way to do it is with me, the spiritual, very, very important. Very important. So I never felt alone, even though I was literally alone in my work a lot, because I was, I didn't have much. And I hope that and I think you will, at least some. I'm going to tell you that you have more strength than you think you have, but you have to get out of that chair and out of that comfort zone. And it's all about everybody could change. Get out of your comfort zone and do the things that are hard. Go to the person that's in grief. Go to the person that had a documentary just like mine, and go and say something, to that person. That's going to mean a lot. And get out of your comfort zone, even if you feel uncomfortable. And that, what you're going to do? You're going to start to see about you what you really are about then. Because if you stay in your comfort zone, you're not going to really know who you are.
That's
Rosemarie.
Yeah. One of the reasons I started this show was I wanted to, it was born out of COVID. I wanted to inspire women from just staying in the house, because I would always feel there's so much that one person can do. My dad always used to say, you don't understand how much difference just one person can make. And a lot of times that's good, and a lot of times that's bad. So I am going to, I would like to bottle your spirit, give it to so many people, because you have hit the nail on the head. We have so much strength that God has given us, and we don't tap into what we have, and you have. And that's why I'm so grateful to have met you, and so grateful to have heard your story. And I hope that everyone watching today will go to jonesjoy.org and help donate, because you will be bringing joy to so many people. Well, I hope you enjoyed this show. It was a difficult show for me to do. I hate having people relive tragedies, but in this case, I think hearing about this tragedy is a way to find out what you can do with a tragedy. I think Rosemarie D'Alessandro said it best when she said the world is not changed by people living in their comfort zones. It doesn't become a better place when you're living in your comfort zone. Rosemarie got out of her comfort zone, and she's still doing it. If you want to help her, visit jonesjoy.org. Every penny will go to good use, trying to enact legislation and also to provide joy to people that have suffered some kind of tragedy in their lives. Thanks for watching. And as I say at the end of every show, find some joy and give some joy every day.
Wake up with a smile,